Ever since it was first launched in 2009, the Toyota Fortuner has been that one product which has defined the space of big, bulky, muscular SUVs. And even after all these years, its appeal is still intact. And that is why it does great amount of business for Toyota. In 2021, Toyota had to do a little bit of a rethink around the Fortuner because of the emission norms. And that's why this one, the 2021 model of the Fortuner, comes with a BS6 engine. Hello and welcome to Pit Stop. Now, what has changed with the introduction of the BS6 engine? Well, of course, the engine itself, because this one produces a little bit more power and a lot more torque. And a few other things have also been changed, and that's exactly what we are going to walk you through and also take you for a drive. The legacy that the Fortuner has built is not without any reason, because when it came into the market, it was absolutely one of its kind. Yes, there was a Pajero, and even the Pajero had a very strong brand equity. But with the Fortuner, game just changed and tilted in favor of Toyota in a big way. People were already very respectful towards the brand, which is Toyota. And then to have something like the Fortuner at the time was absolutely immense for the market. And it was also not as expensive as it has become over the years. In fact, in this spec, the Fortuner that we are driving is almost close to 50 lakh rupees, and that's a lot of money. You can also buy few German cars in the same price bracket. So it is not really value for money car or a cheap car at all. So the game has moved on, and so has this product. It has largely remained the same, and that's exactly why it is a big debate whether it makes a lot of sense now or not. In fact, the overall feel from the cabin is not very plush. The design has not really evolved all that much. You still have largely the same sort of a look, not a lot of change apart from this massive screen over here. It is a touch screen system, and it also has physical buttons, so you can go through the menus and stuff like that. Also now comes with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and all these regular connectivity options that increasingly becoming the norm these days. So that has changed, of course, but otherwise it just feels exactly like how the Fortuner has felt over the past many years. Another thing for a product going at about 40-50 lakh rupees is the quality. Now, these kind of plastics, yes, they're very hard, very sturdy, but at the same time, they do not really give you a plush feeling. And when you are looking at a product of this kind, you would want a little bit of opulence as well. Yes, the appeal that you get from, or the X factor that you have with the Fortuner is definitely there. But I'm hard pressed at really making a case, because the interiors just don't shout the kind of money that it now demands. And even otherwise, some of the control knobs, they feel kind of low rent. Everything over here, like the stocks and all, they don't really shout quality. They would be completely okay in products which are going at about 15-20 lakh rupees or thereabouts. But at this price point, all these things, they just don't really feel that great. And that is also the case with the seats. They're nicely designed, but they just don't give you the feel of richness when you sit on them. The upholstery is something that could have been better, and just overall feel from the cabin, not really the best. But it is built like a tank, and you can feel it. There is absolutely no rattle in here, and it just gives you that sense that it is going to last forever. And that's what Toyotas do generally. They just keep going on without a lot of issues. They don't fall apart at all, and that's specifically the case with the Innova and the Fortuner. And yeah, I don't expect that to go down at all. It is only going to build on to that legacy and that equity. On features, the Fortuner is fairly well loaded. You get almost all the features that you expect from a car of this segment. You also get ventilated seats. Both the driver seat and the co-passenger seat are ventilated. That's a very good thing. And then you will notice down in the center console, there are three buttons. One is termed Eco, one is normal, and the third one is Sport. Now, I never thought I would be saying this for a Fortuner, but the Fortuner now has a sport button. I think it's just completely bizarre because it's the antithesis of what the Fortuner really is. There is nothing sporty about it, unless of course you go off-road, but that's a very different matter. And you would want locking differential, which this one has. Again, there is a button down here that you can press, and then it's going to lock the differential. But sport button essentially just perks the engine up a little bit, kind of sharpens the responses, and that's about it. So I'm not really sure if you would really want that. I really would like the Fortuner to be steady and sedate like it has been for all these years. The steering wheel, not the friendliest of the lot. It is very heavy when you're at low speeds and very vague when you are at very high speeds. So it's right in the middle that it feels the most friendly to you. Just be around, say, 60 to 100 kilometers per hour. That's its happy place. The moment you go above, say, 110, 120 odd, the steering just loses all its connectedness from the road, and that can be a little unnerving. But the main reason of this Fortuner is the engine. Again, this is the same capacity, 2.8 liters, but it has been tuned to meet the stringent emission norms. Now we are at Bharat Stage 6, and this one has DPF, and you're constantly reminded of that because of the sticker that you get on the driver's seat. This vehicle has diesel particulate filter system. Yes, it does, of course, because it has to meet those emission norms. Now, the way this engine drives is slightly different from before. This one feels a lot more linear, and the power delivery is very seamless. It's not the most excited one, of course. You don't expect a car like the Fortuner to really go like bat out of hell. And all for the better, because in this car, you don't need to as well. It's a body on ladder frame, so it's not very comfortable. But generally speaking, the engine feels pretty okay. And the gearbox is lazy enough to suit the nature of the engine. And this can be a good cruiser. But then again, now because the monocoque or the unibody construction is really something that a lot of people opt for, the appeal of the body on ladder frame exists only if you think of hardcore off-roading, and this can definitely go off-road. It can also manage some very challenging situations in a fairly competent way, but hardly anyone does that. It's only the completely mental enthusiasts who would take the Fortuner out on some very, very tricky sand dune bashing sort of a situation, or just go completely slush splashing as well. But almost 90% of people are going to use this as a highway cruiser or even as a city car for the family. And over there, I have a little bit of an issue with this one, because the body on ladder frame has its disadvantages. Even on regular road surfaces, you feel lateral movement all the time. You feel that there is always something happening under the wheels, and the suspension is always kind of busy. If you go on even the slightest of broken patches of road, you will feel a little bit of a jerk inside the cabin. Like for example, now we just went over a little bit of an undulation, and the entire car just felt like it's jerking very strongly. So over there, yes, there is that intrinsic charm of body on ladder, but unibody construction has moved the game so much further. It is still the 2.8 liter engine, the diesel that we are driving, now produces 500 Newton meter with the automatic transmission and 420 odd with the manual. But when you're buying something like this at about 40-50 lakh rupee bracket, you really would not want to buy the manual. It is not really the best gearbox in the business. There is definitely a little bit of a lag when it comes to kicking down and picking up pace after that. But just for very regular sedate driving, it's actually not too bad. And when you settle down in a cruise mode or at a constant speed, you don't really even notice that you're going to have gear shift coming in or going down the gears. So in that way, this is not too bad. But I'm just appalled at the gate design. It just looks like it still is stuck in the 90s, and that is not a very good thing. So with this BS6 engine now, the Fortuner has definitely grown up a little bit. It is a lot smoother, first of all, the engine, and it's charmingly lazy. It's not the most rapid thing out there. The gearbox is also not the best, but it kind of suits the overall personality of the car. You don't want to go street racing in a car like this. You don't want to do a signal to signal sprint. And this is a great highway cruiser. Just the fact that I spoke of this being a ladder frame, it has its disadvantages, but then again, with the Fortuner, the appeal is so strong, the brand itself is so strong that people still flock to Toyota's showrooms and they still pick it up, which just shows that this has a special magnetism about it. And no matter what you do, for example, the Kodiaq, extremely special car, very nicely rounded off. You have the Germans as well, but still, this one reigns supreme in terms of numbers, and Toyota is actually making a lot of money on this as well. So even in 2021, with this body on ladder frame, despite of all the uncomfortable driving experience that you're going to have, this is still something that is going to put a massive smile on your face, because it is a Fortuner. It can also go off-road, much more capable off-road than a lot of other products which are unibody constructions. So yes, it has its pluses, or there are some great attributes that the Fortuner has, but there are more minuses in my book, and it is starting to fade a little, and that's why this update was very, very necessary. So with this update, with all the connectivity options that you now get, you also get a sport button and differential locking. So all that really just adds up to this one extending its life a little bit more.